You're listening to Coffee, Chaos, and ProdSec. I'm Karen Walters, the AppSec and DevSecOps builder trying to automate the world. And with me, as always, is Kurt Hendel, the battle-tested security architect with zero trust worldview. We returned real-world security chaos into conversations that actually matter. So grab your cup of coffee. This is Coffee, Chaos, and ProdSec, and it starts now. Kurt?
All right, we brought a friend today. We brought in the big guns for this one because it's going to be fun. We actually brought a friend who is a non-security person who broke into security, tying it back to a couple of episodes before. Here's a path for you. But we have Shalise. And Shalise wrote an article that actually sparked this episode, which we'll post a link to because it's on LinkedIn. She does a lot of great writing, and you should look at it. But she lives in cybersecurity project management, and she sees where security succeeds, fails, and where it hits real delivery constraints. So I'm not going to do all the introduction. Shalise, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into it.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for having me. My name is Shalise, obviously. I'm the senior manager of our information security PMO and a longtime project manager. And I've done lots of different industries like corporate security, construction. I was in physical security for a bit, and now cybersecurity. And a lot of what I care about centers around leadership, growth, and confidence, and helping people become the best versions of themselves, whether that's professionally or personally. And that's actually what inspired this post that I made and that article that we're talking about today. I wanted people to see the human side of security and know that it's not just learning all of the technical jargon and just doing certifications, because that doesn't translate to real life.
Perfect. And I wanted to say the title of the article is called 10 Things I've Learned About Cybersecurity That No Certification Can Teach You. So if you search that in LinkedIn, I guarantee you'll find it. If not, it'll link it in the post. But also, please rate us, give us 5 stars, thumbs up, like, subscribe, smash the smash.
Smash the smash.
Find us on LinkedIn, connect with us on LinkedIn, send any feedback. I love it when people reach out. I've had quite a few people have, and it's great. It's always nice to hear from anybody listening.
Yeah. Ideas for future episodes. We're happy to hear them.
Definitely. Yeah. I think we're heading into the most important part is, this whole conversation. Coffee. What's everyone drinking? Who wants to go first?
Oh man, I'll go first because Kurt and I have talked about this before, but my Nespresso beats everything. And I've got a cinnamon tamarind coffee. It's pretty fancy.
I don't know how we could top that. I came in with black coffee, which I think I was drinking the last episode we did. So sorry for 2 in a row, but it's my partner's coffee from New York. It's the Brooklyn blend. It's got chocolate. It's got toffee, some sort of fruitiness. It's delicious. And I'm drinking the jet fuel version of it today because why not? I might get a little excited. Cameron, what do you got?
So I accidentally left the bottle in the fridge. I did not think that through, but it is, I believe it's seriously, it's called Good Stout, and it is a cold brew that is actually made in the city I'm moving to, Portland, Oregon. So
sounds more like a beer than a coffee.
That's what I'm saying, but no, it's just a cold brew or something. It tastes good.
All right. No flavoring today?
I put a little bit of sugar in it because I actually tasted it and I was like, this is delicious. So, but I need a little bit of sugar in there, just a little bit. Yeah. Well, where do we want to kind of jump in?
Well, why don't we start with the human element? I mean, Shalise already teased it a bit, and the human element, I think, is one of the least talked about parts of cybersecurity. We're always focused on technical topics, and I think on the podcast we've talked a little bit about the human element, a lot about technical concepts, but now we're coming at it from the non-security professional, the project management, the human element through and through. So I'm going to stop there. Which one of you wants to bring us into it?
Cameron, I know that you feel strongly about this, so why don't you start us out?
So the human element in cybersecurity is everything. The title, we've been toying with the title of this podcast for this episode was something around like hoodie or the hoodie mentality, which is the hero mentality. And that drives me crazy because it does not include the human element in a lot of what we do in cybersecurity. I think it encourages the wrong thing. And when I was reading through kind of your 10 points and the 10 different things, every bullet point for me kept echoing like the wrong thing that I see lots of people do, in the sense that they're always thinking about like, how can I be the hero in this direction? How can I be the hero in this one? I know some of your bullets, or one of the items is like certifications, and how certifications open doors, and it can be like misconstrued as like you come in with like 50 certs and you're this hero cert, professional, and you're just like pulling them out like they're like ninja stars, and you can throw them at every security problem. Doesn't make sense. But it's kind of how the industry is at times. We encourage the wrong things, especially within the human element and with what we do in our teams. At least from your side, how do you, is that how you see it? Is people trying to get in, or like what's your perspective around that?
Yeah, I think that, well, first and foremost, I don't want anybody to think I'm like bagging on certifications. I think continuous learning is so important. I hold several certs. I do think they're important, but what they can't teach you is what happens in real life. So if you take, any what XYZ security certification, you're going to learn lots of security technical terms. You're going to learn how things should go if everything is perfect, but it's rarely perfect. And in the corporate environments that we all work in and in the tech industry, it's messy. Everybody's doing 5 million different priorities. Like, it's just not ever going to be perfect or set up in the way that a certification asks you a question. So that's really where I come from. Not that certs are bad, just that the real life experience matters a lot more.
Certs are
They're good for
fundamentally,
building a base.
yeah, exactly. I was gonna say the same thing. They're like foundational information.
Yep.
So, and they don't teach you a lot of different things. Especially like I'm building out this like fun chart of what's the difference between a senior and a junior and a mid-level, and the mentalities that you see a lot of entry level folks coming in is that I can become this massive hero with all these certifications. I can move the needle. And the first thing I always have to realign with everybody is the human element. Is so like I think a lot of people don't understand that we are all social creatures, and everything you do, you're going to have to. But I think schooling in general is fundamentally flawed in that perspective about bringing the human element into it, because school teaches that we can be heroes. Every project we do, majority of them, they're all solo. Every, when we take tests, we take our tests solo. Everything is always solo, 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 right? It's just, and then there's the hustle culture, good or bad, or whatever you think about it. But that is kind of going on right now. Encourages you to consistently work and do it solo and build something yourself. It does not encourage, at least I don't think it does, a team membership, a team bonding, or like a team atmosphere, which is what every corporate, every team, everything you're going to do within any InfoSec team.
Totally.
Shalise, you've said this before. I've been in meetings with you where you've said it. And I think we even, in our leadership meeting last year, we talked about how it's a team sport, right? So don't be the hero. You don't have to be. We're all here to support each other, often working in cross-functional environments. And I think to add to the human element, I was talking to someone earlier today even to say, the easiest way to get things done is through relationships. People know I've been in big consulting and that's all relationship driven. But then when I moved full on back into cybersecurity, like the easiest way to get anything done is to phone a friend. You can't do it all alone.
I couldn't agree more. Like, something that I think a lot of people outside of cybersecurity don't realize is everything that we're trying to get done lives in other people's roadmaps. Like, we can't do anything without relying on our partners within the corporation. Like, we don't own the systems that we're trying to protect. We have to ask other engineering departments, IT, product, cloud ops. Like, all of those people have to be on our side and understand what we're trying to accomplish in order for us to be successful. It really can't be, the hooded person in one room doing things all by themselves. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Well, it's the separation of duties, which is a security principle, right? Actually drives this. And so it's kind of our own fault as an industry. We set ourselves up to make this a team and a human sport, not like you can't be the hero. You won't succeed unless you're a single person operation and responsible for all of it.
Right. But no certification test that I've taken has leaned into that. They have not talked about how you need to rely on product or cloud ops or anybody else to help.
And they all, to the earlier points, like they all assume that you're kind of in a perfect world, right? Like
Yep.
security is not a perfect world. Like I was planning on doing something else 2 hours ago, and I got a call from the CISO today. Like, hey, we have something going on, and the two people that I would normally call are out. So what do we do? It's there's the reactionary elements, but at the same time, we have to strategically plan for the proactive elements to try and get this to a state where it can be as good as it can be. And even then, it won't be perfect because perfection is the enemy of progress and things are constantly changing.
True. I want to add on in the sense that any advice that I could give to anybody, and that's one of the things that you highlight really well in the article, is that you got to have cross collaboration. You got to build relationships. Tanya Janka, I always think of her because a long time ago she did a talk where she was talking about like what she did to get people to help her do security. She was like, I would bake cookies and I would just bring cookies in all the time and I would just bribe the devs until they like loved me, and then they would help me with fix vulnerabilities, and even if I fix one vulnerability out of like the dozen cookies I cooked, that's a win. And it's an extreme funny example, but it's so true, right? It's talking about relationships and building these relationships where you need them, because as we're saying, you don't own anything. And so the more you can develop friends, the more you can do anything like that, right? The better it's going to be.
Yeah, 100%. And then now in this like world that we live in, it's a virtual world. I can't bake cookies for all of our cross-functional partners, but what I
You
can
can
do
buy
is
cookies,
I I could send
get
them a
them
DoorDash gift
delivered.
card. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, where's my DoorDash gift card?
Want some cookies? Come
All
on now.
right.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be using that next time. Next time I need something done, I will be sending cookies to people. But I think also it's important, like outside of just friendship, like we're not going to be friends with everybody we're working with, but people really underestimate just how far giving context or impact goes. Like, hey, we have to get this done because if we don't, the sky is going to fall and you're not going to have a job anymore. And I mean, hopefully it's not that intense, but if it was, I feel like that would really inspire people to get moving on it.
The,
So I
the
think,
doom and gloom never
yeah,
works. Stay away from the doom and gloom or
yeah,
fear, uncertainty, and doubt. FUD. You hear that thrown
Yeah,
around
fun.
a lot. But one of the things that I think for both Cameron and I, we read your post on LinkedIn. Cameron commented on this point. It was point number 8. I obviously like the article. I'm looking at it right now. And your 8th point was clear communication is a security strategy. So if you can't communicate what needs to be done and the why, no one's, how are you going to get buy-in and alignment to get anything done with the players that you need to get things done with?
Jeez.
exactly. And if you
Not.
don't know the why, you should really go back and find out.
And
Yeah, and you're just kind of winging it.
seriously, that one, now that I read the comment as you said it, because I forgot I did that. But now that I hear, oh man, I'm like, grinds my gears. Yes, so much. Community security, it drives me crazy. And I'm sure, I bet you've seen this, but security often leads with fear. It often leads with this doom and gloom. It leads with, oh, we'll get breached, and this mentality that is just so fear mongering that is counterproductive to what we're doing as a business. And the best cybersecurity leaders that I've followed, that I've known, they don't lead with fear. They lead with data. They lead with a clear map to a more positive outcome, which is that security can be and should be a revenue increasing or a revenue positive organization, because everybody today cares about security. And so if you can't communicate your strategy that way, what are we doing here, right? Like it blows my mind that we still have leaders who lead with fear.
Yeah,
It never
absolutely.
works.
Does not work. And I think one of the things that I learned just kind of stepping into this position and leading our PMO was partly that, because if you lead with fear, honestly, people don't really take you seriously. But if you approach it from a standpoint of, hey, this is why this is best for our company, and this is why this is best for our strategy, this is why this maps to our organizational goal for the year, and looking at it from a positive, inspirational standpoint instead of we have to do this or the company's going to fall apart, it is
Well,
a lot more palatable.
you're really, you could sum this up in 2 words, right? And I know I've touted this before. I have a draft LinkedIn post about this right now, but business enablement. Security is a business enabler in 2026. I had to check the calendar there, actually. I'm not out of 2025 yet, I guess. So I just looked at it, but business enablement is what's the positive outcome? If we do everything right and enable the business to grow, we all win. We all make more money, right? So I mean, we all work because one, we enjoy what we do, but at the same time, you're getting a paycheck, right? So we want to see the business be successful, and security is now a major part of that.
But no one wants to go
Absolutely.
to some banking company where they have all your money and they don't take security seriously, right? And if they lead with fear mongering, I'm gonna be like, take my money somewhere else, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had that experience where I've talked to banks, and I'm just like, whoa, should I have my money in your institution right now? Because I'm not so sure about.
Seriously. There's been like, I don't know, this is a random tangent, but there was one bank that I remember where I was creating a password because I was going to check them out. And it required like a maximum of like 20 or 18 characters. And I was like,
Maximum?
yeah, I was like,
That's crazy.
maximum? What? Like, I understand that you probably maybe have other mechanisms with like MFA and like maybe passwordless or whatever, but still, it's just a weird thing to put as a requirement. And I was like, okay, maybe they're an older company. There's a technical limitation rather than a security limitation. But the first thing that came to my mind, and I think most people might be, that might be a security limitation. If security is putting that there, I don't know. It makes me question things.
Moving on to the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll find a
one.
different bank.
Yeah.
On to the next one. True that. True. What do you guys want to jump into?
Oh man.
The human element we did a lot on, but the next sort of we kind of framed out themes, right? And the next one is, I think you titled it, execution beats perfection. Execution is, I mean, that's Shalice's. I can't even say her name anymore. It's weird.
Oh, man, just don't call me Chelsea.
Yeah, it's Shalice, not Chelsea. If you want to meet Chelsea, you're not going to have a fun time.
Yeah. Exactly.
But it's your specialty. Driving execution is what you spend the bulk of your time doing. And I
Yes.
mean, I've had the privilege of working with you on projects, and I've worked with people on your team, and I mean, I'm extremely thankful to have the support, because like project management skills are important, but it's also important to have someone there that is kind of like seeing the big picture and driving the different experts and not letting anyone be the hero, because they're just going to drag you down.
Exactly. Execution is really important, and execution over perfection every time, especially in like project management. I understand that there may be some technical areas of security that you're looking for that perfection, but I can't think of one off the top of my head. But what I try to instill in any of the project managers that work on my team is like just keep going. Our landscape changes so fast and the tech world moves so fast that if we get caught up on trying to make things perfect, it's just never going to get done. We really just need to make a decision and decide what that best decision for that moment is and execute on it. And part of execution is the clear ownership of that decision. Otherwise, it's also going to go nowhere. So we don't want it to be perfect, and we don't want it to be lacking ownership.
Yeah, ownership is a really cool thing to call out and a key thing. when you're leading projects, there's a whole bunch I want to say, but I want to hear your side before I say anything. Um, yeah. When you're leading projects, how do you, or like, what do you think is the number one like failure of a project when you're handling something that's like imagine multiple different teams are involved?
Yeah, I really think that, man, do I have to pick just one?
You can pick
I
as many as you want. We got plenty of
Does
time
this to
here.
me all the
awesome.
time, so you can pick multiples.
You can pick multiples, but I want to try to see if I can hear the number one, right? I know it's hard to always pick one, but favorites are hard. My wife always says that. She's like, I don't pick favorites. I'm like, all right, what's your top three? But
Yeah,
I want to know, but
I
then
like
it
that.
still summarizes into the top one in one way or another.
It does. It really does. I think it's kind of in the same theme. If I really had to pick one, it would be ownership and alignment, which you could kind of argue are similar or in the same. But if nobody owns anything, nothing's going to get done. And I think there's like some psychology behind it. Like, hey, Cameron, you own task X and you need to get this done. And it's part of your team's responsibilities. And then you, Cameron, go, oh, hey, cool. Okay, I got that. I understand that. And now I really understand how to move on to next steps and what needs to be done. So it becomes a little bit more personal instead of just saying, hey, somebody owns this. We don't really know who owns it. Nobody's going to. I shouldn't say nobody. Rarely is somebody going to jump up and be like, you know what? I have 10 hours of free time and I really want to do this. I'm excited.
Everyone
Like, it's
has
just
10 hours of free time.
yeah, it's not normally how it works. So I think ownership is really big, but at the same point, alignment. I think I think you guys can probably think of at least three examples in the past year that this has happened. But VP of Team A says, "Hey, this is important, and we need to get this done and prioritize it because of whatever reason." But VP of Team B is saying, "Well, no, actually, this is our priority this year." And then Team A and Team B can't really play nice in the playground because nobody knows what they're supposed to be doing or what the actual priority is. So if we have better alignment and better ownership, I think makes everything easier
I'm
or
kind of
fail
hearing,
if we
I'm,
don't have that.
true that. I'm kind of hearing clarity is the underlying theme, right? Because you're getting
Okay. Yeah.
clarity of who owns and clarity of strategy and what needs to get done. So
For sure.
it kind of makes sense in that kind of theme.
Well,
Yeah.
it goes back to the theme we just talked about. Clear communication is a strategy, right?
Yep.
So you bring
It is.
clarity, you have ownership. Like, it's, let's face it, at the end of the day, in the world of leadership, we're results driven people. And so I know for one I am, because I've done those behavioral tests and they're like, results is your top thing. You want to achieve things. Like, great. If I own it, I'm going to get it done because I don't want to fail. Right. So that's the psychological element that I think a lot of people, especially leaders, face. And I think as you're talking, if I had a top three now, like the third one would be prioritization, because it's like if no one owns it, nothing gets done. If everything's a priority or nothing's a priority, nothing gets done. So there's all these forces that can work against you. And so how do you keep that all in order? And I mean, alignment is kind of what brings it all together. If everyone's on the same page and agrees, then now we can execute and things go much better. No one's talking past each other, no one's diverging on the plan. And guess what? At the end of the day, things get done faster that way.
Mm.
Yeah. I think all of those go hand in hand because you can't have one without the other, really. Like, you can't have ownership without clarity. You can't have alignment without clarity. So if we
You
want to
could
call it
try.
all clarity, we could try. It's not going to work out very well.
Well, and having for me, a written section where everything is documented, written, displayed, and project managers usually bring that to the table. I feel like in a lot of meetings or projects that I don't have a project manager on it, people don't take that good of notes. They don't actually project manage. I get asked all the time, what is like the next level skill to become a senior? And I think the biggest thing people forget, and the points at which I notice somebody who is very successful, is their project management skills. I know my personal career, And everything you're just saying makes the most sense, because in my career, why I've kind of had so much success is because I'm really good at managing projects. I understand I have to document them. I have to get project alignment. I get clarity. I get ownership. I have conversations well ahead to make sure that I hear and make sure that every partner I have is well informed and committed to the goal. And a lot of people, again, it comes back to that hero mentality or that solo hoodie mentality. They don't even think about that. They're just like, we need to get this done. And that's where the thought stops.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the path? Like,
Yeah.
it's not like start and end. It's what's the story in between? And that's where, like, working with Shalice's team, and we all know who the project manager is. I won't name him because he's not here. But the big projects we ran with last year, it was like we wrote this huge plan together, got everyone's eyes on it, and then we just executed. And then he's like, are we done with this step? And we just like start checking stuff off, and lo and behold, it's like, whoa, it's done. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
It's kind of wild when you think about just like all of these things that we're talking about are so simple, but in the real world application of them, maybe it's not as simple. But documentation, having a list, like, I don't know, maybe this is why I'm a project manager by heart, but I love a good list and I love to be able to check off a list. And so does like most
I
people.
agree.
So when you
I
pull it
agree.
up on a screen and you're like, hey, this is done, we're done, we don't ever have to talk about this again. How exciting. Like, people love that. It's a
I'm
good practice.
I'm old school. I still have handwrite my to-do list. It's on my desk next to me. I like crossing it off physically. It feels like it's gone.
Yeah.
I manage all of me and my wife's like to do stuff, chores around the house using Asana. That's like a project management kind of like
Yeah.
Jira, but much more light.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love every time I'm like, check, that task is done. I know it'll reoccur in a week, but check. It is great when you can do that. It's a sense of accomplishment, right?
It is. Yeah,
So
that's a big thing in project management too, is we have to celebrate the accomplishments. It can't just be what's the next thing, what's the next thing. I think Cameron, you said it earlier, but we have this hustle culture. But that does not mean we should just step over all of the accomplishments and the good things that our teams are doing. We should celebrate them.
yeah. And the one thing I wanted to bring up between all of this, and which would be my number one thing, transparency. That's my number one thing that I like about project management, is because it brings light to things that are usually not seen. Because what happens when you go into a project management team or a meeting, there's a list, there's an outline, there are owners, there's people with names that are associated to different things. We are, recording. So now we have recordings and everybody can see all this information. It's no longer hidden by one team and being like, oh, hey, we're working in this silo of, we're the ones managing it. It no longer like that. Transparency, I think, is what drives all this success, but innate to people. And I'm going to keep bringing this back because I'm hoping folks hear this, but project management and every one of these bullet points, major words we're talking about, is what grows you into becoming a senior. Because technical skills early on in your career are what make you successful. But as you keep growing, it's your project management skills. Can you manage something from end to end process with multiple owners that your manager or director doesn't have to do, And if you're lucky and fortunate to have a project management team, most companies, most security teams don't have that, right? You usually do not have a security project management team. It is a night and day difference when you do have one. So highly recommend everybody get one. They're great, 10 out of 10. But if you don't, and you have those skills, you're gonna fly. People will notice when you can properly manage and your projects just go smoothly. It's a big difference.
Yeah. I mean, being able to communicate in different styles too. So like, we're just defining the same things in different ways repeatedly. There's clarity in communication, there's transparency, there's alignment, there's all these things. But if you can, so in the world I operate in, I have to talk to engineers constantly. So I have to speak that language, but I also have to talk to the executives. Like, why are we doing this? And that's a different language I have to speak. Or I have to talk to GRC to check off those boxes I love so much. Or I have to talk to my project management team, and I can't be like, Shalice, I'm going to just barf a bunch of words at you and expect you to understand. We have to make sure that everyone understands the mission, why we're doing it, what we're doing, and move on in the world. And Cameron and I talked about this in Breaking into ProdSec, one of the 2 episodes we had this on. But what do we look for as hiring managers? It's almost never hard skills. It's always the soft skills that make you successful.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. So what is like your one non-negotiable with a hiring skill?
What non-negotiable? Like you mean like they have to have this or they
They
don't have?
have to have it.
I mean, I'll go with passion. For me, it's passion. If I don't see you passionate about what you're doing, you could lack in a lot of different ways. But if you're eager and willing to learn and want to learn, that's what I care about, because I can teach you everything, right? Like I'm famous. Many of my bosses, they're like, Cameron's boot camp. It's a 3-month boot camp, and by the end of it, they're like, they come out just these crazy great, AppSec, DevSecOps engineers. It's because I find people who want and are hungry, and I just tell them, or I help them understand that this is the way you got to go and what you got to learn. And if they can eat that up, it's easy.
It's a good one. Kurt, what's yours?
I'm struggling to pick one right now. Like, passion to me it's definitely top 3. But I've also seen in my career, like, you could be the most passionate person in the room, but you can't execute on anything. And so that's where I move towards like problem solving, or critical thinking even is becoming something that I think we're missing more of. And I'm not going to say it's all because of AI, but AI is helping get rid of critical thinking. And unfortunately that hurts. I think problem solving is my number one. Like, can you approach a problem or a vague statement and actually kind of map your way to a solution? Because now that's going to expose your ability to project manage and actually break something down into smaller constructs. And if you're excited about it, the passion comes naturally with that, right? So at the heart of it all, I think, is the problem solving. And I struggle because curiosity is up there. And tying this back to your blog post, Shalise, I think the top 10, curiosity was one of those things. Without it, like, you're going to fall behind, you'll become complacent, and you're going to get left behind.
Yeah, that's actually my number one, is the curiosity. Like, I agree with both of you, like, on the other 2 points, but I can, to Cameron's point, teach anything. I can teach you how to be a project manager. You've been a project manager for a different industry. I could teach you how to be a cybersecurity project manager. But what I can't teach people is how to be like constantly curious. And the people that are asking the who, what's, the where's, the whys, those are the people that are uncovering risks. They're bringing up all of the good information to the top that needs to be talked about. We identify issues earlier, we design better solutions, and those are the people that are really effective in these messy real life environments. So I think curiosity is my number one.
There's just too many things. And Cameron I caught what Cameron said as I started talking: confidence. I think confidence plays into what you just said, Shalise, in a big way, because if someone's confident enough to speak up and surface the risk, even if they don't have all of the facts and details yet, being able to kind of get over the fear or the imposter syndrome of everyone's going to be looking at me, and so I don't want to put myself in the spotlight. If you have that confidence to speak up and actually speak authoritatively on something, and then collaborate to solve the problem, like, your sky's the limit.
I really want to say something.
Do it.
What grinds my gears is when people get scared or feel like they're asking too many questions, because they're not confident. Again. They're not Ask but they're not confident in that people will be helpful, and they're like that they think their question is dumb. And I'm like, the only dumb question is the question you didn't ask. That is the only dumb question. I love it when, like, one of my maybe more entry level folks reaches out and they ask a question. They're like, sorry. And I'm like, when they say sorry, I'm triggered. I'm like, oh, breathe. Don't be rude in the sense
Say it with
of
your
like,
chest.
right? I'm like, because it drives me crazy. Because that's the wrong. Why is that? Why are they sorry? Like, I don't understand. Like, who in the past was like, don't ask me questions. I want to know who in their past was like, don't ask questions. I'm like, dude, no, life is about questions. You should be asking everybody's opinion. Now, taking everybody's opinion or their answer for face or fact, that's a whole different thing. Whole different thing. But asking the questions, always ask a billion questions. You know, it comes back to curiosity, but having the confidence, as you're saying, to be interested in it, and having the, you know, curiosity to ask those questions again, right? It comes out all different directions. Oh, ask questions, please.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's part of the reason I've been successful in so many different kind of industries is I've never been afraid to ask questions. How does this work? Why do we do this? Why are we doing that? And I honestly don't really know if it drives people crazy, but if it does, they haven't told me. It's worked out in my favor. I do this to you guys all the time. Whenever we're in a meeting and there's something very technical being talked about, I'm constantly in the background pinging usually one of you two guys going, what does that mean? Why are we doing that? What's this for?
Yeah, yeah.
Bananas, to quote
Bananas.
my good friend Cameron.
It's so true. So around like in your post number 4, you said vulnerability management is not patching, it is a prioritization and partnership. Can you break down, like, what do you mean by that, and why'd you put that as number 4? Because I feel like that's pretty high up there, and for me, I would do a different order. Again, I would bring 8 to like way higher. So why was number 4 number 4?
Is it in priority order though?
I was going to say, first of all, these are not in priority order. These are,
enough,
just 10 things.
Not ranked.
Yeah, I agree.
That's
I agree.
bananas.
But anytime you put anything in a list, it feels like a priority order. If it was not in a list, it would just be, you could just do bullets, and then I'd be like, okay, these are just a collection of
count
things.
The bullets. It's the top 10, man. Like, we
yeah,
gotta
but you
have
could
the
just whatever.
All right, so I'll speak to the order a little bit, even though it's not in priority order. The number 1, certifications, open doors. I felt like I had to start with that because that's what this whole post is about. Number 2, human risk management. It's the most underestimated part of cybersecurity. Vulnerability management is important, but most people don't understand the human risk management piece. Great project management is one of the strongest security controls you can have. I think we just spoke about that at length, and that's why it's number 3. And then vulnerability management, I think, kind of gets this more technical rep. So that's why it ended up being number 4. Sorry, Cameron, but it is extremely important. I know that you live this every day.
Yeah, I do, but I would put it lower if I had my list. I'd put that lower. I'd bring up some of the
put
other
lower.
ones higher.
Okay. I think the reason that this was number 4 is this is something, and Cameron, you're very familiar with this. It's something I'm living and breathing right now today in one of our programs. So it's just on my mind all of the time. But one of the things that I've found in this program is that vulnerability management is not just about patching. Like, we have come up with this really beautiful patch management process. On paper, it's beautiful. It's going to meet all of the controls for all the certifications that we want. And everybody's excited and everybody claps and they take a bow. But then we step in and go, how are we going to implement that? Like, that looks cool, but how do we do that? And then everybody goes, well, I have to do, X, Y, Z for this program before I can do that. And I was told by VPA that he wants this done, so I'm not going to get to it until 2027. So that's why I said it's really more about the patching and less about the patching and more about the prioritization. Because if we don't prioritize it and we don't have it on our roadmap, it's not really going to get done.
You're just checking boxes.
Checking boxes. Kurt's favorite thing.
We did 2 episodes on vulnerability management, and the prioritization piece. This plays right into that. Like, how could we talk for 2 hours about this topic?
Yeah, I really think it comes down, in all of these meetings I've been into for this specific program, it comes down about making smart, honest, strategic decisions for the business. Like, that's what drives vulnerability management, not just the patching of criticals and highs and lows.
Oh, don't focus on checking boxes?
Exactly.
I can't help myself. I'm having fun with
it. I could make a whole post about that. Kurt, I think you should.
I did. I wrote a whole blog post about it. Maybe I should repost that in the next week to remind everyone.
I think you should, just for fun.
I got another one where I'll talk about not checking boxes and it'll be about continuous compliance, but stay tuned because I haven't written it yet.
I feel like that's a great segue for the third theme of this podcast, isn't it?
Yeah.
What is it?
Context over compliance.
I agree.
I agree.
I don't know what else to say.
And we're done. Ship it.
Yeah. All right, you guys. We ended on
Context.
time. Just kidding.
Early.
Early.
See, when Shalise is around, we get stuff done.
Yeah.
We're on schedule. Things are moving. Kurt's
Great.
not rambling too much.
Oh, get out of here.
Well, I
You're
think
guilty.
this next theme could have Kurt on his rambling.
Well,
No,
kick us into
I'll
it.
save my musings, but take us in.
Yeah, let's kick us in. Like, why, this is an amalgamation, I think, of a couple different points, right? So, like, where do you want to start, Shalise, on one of those? And, obviously, there's the compliance as a floor, there's context, there's governance, judgment. Which one do you want to kick into first? Or what's the key takeaway that you would give to somebody, thinking about this?
Oh man, I have quite a few key takeaways depending on what we're talking about. But I think one of the biggest things, and I touched on it in it came out as number 9. I don't know if you agree with that prioritization, Cameron, or not. But number
Opinions.
9, I said
We'll
governance
debate 'em
works.
later.
Governance works or fails based on people. So compliance is great. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with like compliance and certifications. It forces us to be organized. It forces us to have the documentation, which we already talked about is so important. But what happens after those audits are done, or when we're looking at governance and we have a 20-page policy doc, which is awesome, but in an incident that happens in real life, nobody is looking at that 20-page policy document. They're going, how do I resolve this quickly? So the context of what's happening in the real world, whether it's an incident, whether it's, access changes within our environments, any number of different things, like the context of why we're doing something is so much more important than just complying with a certification. And that's what actually helps people change their behavior on a day-to-day basis.
Ooh.
You guys see it all the time, right? I know Kurt does. Kurt and I have had many conversations about this.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time translating one into the other, right? And so I don't just like, and my team doesn't do this either. They don't say, well, compliance framework says this, so go do that. A dev's going to look at you and be like, what does that even mean? Like, turn it into something actionable, put it into the context, give them a why, and say, what's the benefit? What's the positive outcome? Everything we do, whether we're a leader, an individual contributor, what have you, needs to be outcome driven. And at the end of the day, this is business oriented. So when I'm talking to the executives, I'll put it in the business terms of this is why we're doing it for the business. When I'm talking to the engineers, this is why we're doing it for the product and our customers and protecting the data so that we have a successful product that basically sells itself.
Yeah.
That context is everything.
It is. I have a question for both of you that I'm really curious. Your answers are going to be potentially very different or very similar. But what do you think is the biggest context gap right now? Cloud identity, third-party access, CI/CD, or incident response?
One more time. What's the list again?
All right, we got cloud identity, third-party access, CI/CD, or instant response.
I mean, I definitely think incident response is lower. There's always better tuning with that one. Cloud identity is definitely a major problem. And Kurt, that's probably a triggering one. And then CI/CD. What do you mean by CI/CD? I'm going to debate this because it drives me crazy when people say CI/CD. What do you mean by that?
I don't think I want to debate you, Cameron. So let's take that
Are
out.
you talking about like the software pipeline, like
Yes,
delivering software,
delivering
like
software.
the entire process from end to end?
Yeah, just where's the biggest context gap?
It's probably the delivering software for me, at least. I don't know. I'm a little
Okay.
biased there, but I'd probably say that one just because there's so many gaps in the pipelines. We are using AI to write our code, write our tests, document our code. I call it like developer review fatigue that is probably happening because these AIs, vibe coding, or they generate a lot. They're extremely useful, but they generate a lot. The studies I've read show that majority of developers don't actually read look over as thoroughly as if it was written by them or some other human being. And so that makes me concerned. Are we missing quality issues? Are we missing security issues? And then the fact that maybe we're using AI to write our tests and documentation, that calls into a lot of questions around, are we even actually writing the code? Are we actually even looking at it? I don't know. If every part of it, I just don't know. And then with all that being generated, are we getting the proper test coverage both from our QA side? Then from there, it includes all third-party libraries. So you have all kinds of different problems. And then once it gets shipped, a lot of companies don't do a really good job at understanding from what was in development to what was actually shipped. Because once it hits the pipeline, it kind of at times it's like a black box for a lot of teams. And for me, I'm biased here because I believe software pipelines are the 2026 is going to just explode in terms of vulnerabilities. I'm actually working on my SPVS project, the Secure Pipeline Verification Standard for OWASP, and I've been cataloging and trying to find all related security breaches over the last 10 years. And I went back 8 years and I can only find a couple that could really translate. But as we get closer today, it's just every year I'm having to rule certain ones out by technicalities because there's too many. It's just getting more and more. I don't know if that's because of how we're fundamentally doing or delivering our software or what, but the context around that and being able to provide that information back, it's lacking. I don't know.
I like how Cameron was ready to box me on it, and then he came out with 75 reasons of why that's the clear answer.
I mean, I'm gonna rule incident response out. And so we had CI/CD, cloud identity. Wasn't there one other one?
Third-party access.
So I'm gonna surprise Cameron right now.
You're gonna go
I'm gonna agree with him.
Oh man, that surprises me too.
You
I
didn't
thought
really
for
go
sure.
with identity? Why wouldn't you go with cloud identity?
Look, identity is the obvious answer.
It's the new frontier.
Oh my god!
Oh no.
he's purposely go look at the post that Link Security made where I just rant about identity. Go watch that podcast. I'll give you 9,000 reasons why identity is important. It's there's a whole 45-minute session on that already. Identity, yes, it's important, but CI/CD, like Cameron said, it's been a black box. Historically, it's been a black box. And if you look at the history, like Cameron just described, 8 years ago, very few things happening. Today, how many events did we have in 2025 related to security events or incidents related to CI/CD or supply chain?
Yeah, I found
which
so
is
many.
a big part of it. There are so many. And that's because this is an attack vector that kind of flew under the radar for a while. Then someone found out ways to exploit it, and it's just been lit on fire. And it's one of the newer, more popular ones, but we often lack the context around CI/CD, and to the point even where depending where you work, those pipelines operate differently. They're in different environments because this is where the crossover happens between dev and prod, right? And there's no clear science to making this work. Access is part of it. Vulnerabilities are part of it. You could literally argue that everything falls into CI/CD in some way or another. And so, I mean, just the context just keeps piling up more and more. And that's why we need to focus on it. identity, everyone, like, the context is there with identity. AI lit identity on fire again, and it'll continue to stay on fire for the next however many years until it becomes boiled down to a science all over again. And it'll still be a top risk factor because you grab an identity, great. All your other defenses suddenly don't matter unless you've segmented things properly. But your delivery mechanism, I'm sorry, if you don't know how all of that runs and how all of it's protected, you're doomed.
I think your guys' answers to that completely just proved the point better than I could say anything with context over compliance. Because when you think about compliance or context being important with compliance, you think about just compliance as far as certifications or frameworks. You're probably like 5 controls talking about that. But you guys just unearth these like way bigger issues within the security realm that need to be focused on because of the context of it.
Yeah. And I mean, to take it even further, a lot of these frameworks still talk about identity, manage your passwords, and this, that, and the rest of it, and in ways that aren't actually going to provide any value in securing an environment. If I rotate a password every 60 days, what am I getting out of it? Like,
Me annoyed.
me annoyed too. So even NIST has updated that guidance. It's old school. But if we talk about the supply chain and CI/CD, how many compliance requirements come to mind? They say, do you have a secure SDLC? And that's it.
Yep.
Most of the time, they don't even ask for a secure SDLC.
They just ask if you have one, really.
I'm going to make another plug for Cameron's OWASP project, the SPVS. I want to see frameworks start mapping to that because it's extremely important that we secure the delivery mechanisms, the integration and delivery of code.
Yeah. I mean, that's my dream with the project, right? So
everyone, so like it's a quick plug, but this is just an honest opinion, and I'm glad that SPVS exists now. But everyone's been so focused on securing production and meeting all of these compliance requirements and checking the boxes, if you want me to hear me say it again. What wasn't included? The pipelines. What started being attacked in lighting everything on fire? The pipelines. They need to be included.
Yeah, true. All right, I know we can keep talking about everything. I want to round us out. So, Shalise, if there is one thing out of this entire article that is a key takeaway, what would you call out?
Man, that's such a good question. I think I wrapped it up at the end of the article, honestly, is that cybersecurity is a people-powered sport. Get rid of the lone hero, the hoodie myth. Don't think that compliance check boxes are the end all be all. It really comes down to the people, because when people start behaving in secure ways on a natural basis and not because we're in an audit and saying, oh yeah, duh, of course we do that, or because somebody's asking you to do it the right way, or it's a test, but when they're really doing it in real world, like that is truly success for security people, at least. So cybersecurity being a people powered sport is my big takeaway.
You have it. It's the human element.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have another question. In your project management meetings, what is the one thing, or you could say many, that hinder a project?
Ooh, one thing that hinders a project. At the risk of sounding like a broken record, because we kind of talked about this earlier, it's a lack of clarity. So, and that could stem to lack of ownership, lack of accountability. Just that lack of clarity is going to hinder your program 100% every time. I don't know if do you guys agree, disagree?
I mean, Elise just kind of nailed it, because everything else stems off of that, right? If you have a lack of clarity, that's confusion. You don't have ownership. You don't have a clear execution path. You're not going to get anything done. Communication is broken down. No one's on the same page. No one's solving problems. They're just creating problems. So if you bring the clarity or transparency, whatever you like to call it, you have a much higher chance of being successful.
I think you're both wrong. It's the number of cookies you brought to the meeting.
Well,
There you
that
have
must be
it.
it. There we
It's
go.
always cookies. I made
You guys,
cookies
I'm going to edit
yesterday.
the
You
article
can't have
today.
any.
That's fair. That's fair. All right,
Not
guys.
enough cookies.
Not enough cookies. Anything else you guys want to bring up before we wrap this sucker up?
Yeah, send me some cookies.
No.
No.
I tried. Dang it.
You can get your own cookies.
I already have them.
There you go.
I was
Bring
just-
someone you moved to the Northwest.
I was just going to say thank you guys for having me on. This was a lot of fun. And I appreciate the highlighting of, the human element of this, the project management piece of security. And it's not always the technical people are making the world go around. Sometimes you need those project managers too.
Definitely. I would have to say it, but the biggest skills that you could learn if you ever want to become a senior or just in InfoSec in any kind of job, project management skills. And project management is managing the project from end to end, getting buy-in, getting clarity. As we've all said, it is bringing everything together in a structured way that allows us to succeed with clear transparency and goals. And I would say buy-in. I tell this to my team all the time. And the most successful projects are that. Anybody who's practicing the skill, I have my team practice the skill all the time. I'll say, like, hey, we need to do XYZ, build out a project plan. I'll usually tear it apart because they don't, I've done it a million times. They've only done it so much. I wish there were more sources. So I don't know, Shalise, if I could ask for anything, keep writing your blogs, but maybe bring up some blogs that show us how you approach a project. How do you think about what you need to do? What are these different things? Maybe some blogs breaking that down so that other people can start to think of that mentality and adopt that mentality to be successful.
Oh man, that's a great idea. I'm actually working on my schedule of posts for the year, so I'll keep that in mind, Cameron.
I think it'd be a good one. It'd be a good one. All
I
right,
like
Kurt,
it.
anything else you want to say?
5 stars. Like, subscribe.
Smash the smash.
It's bananas.
It's bananas. All right. This has been a great episode. Thank you for listening to Coffee, Chaos, and ProdSec. It's been a pleasure. We're out.